I'm Jordan Belfort, and this is Sales School. NetSuite is the world's #1 cloud business system. Bottom line, it gives you visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. It's everything you need all in one place. In fact, over 21,000 companies are using NetSuite right now, so you'll be in great company right alongside them. So let NetSuite show you how they'll benefit your business with a free product tour at netsuite.com/school. Hey, JB here, the Wolf, and it's time for another awesome episode of Sales School. I have a fabulous guest today. You know, either I give a tip myself here, or I bring someone on who's an expert at what they do. This is interesting because it's not so much an expert on traditional persuasion as much as the projection of power and seduction and strategy. And by the way, we've just done a podcast together, and it turns out that there's so much overlap that I had to say, you know what, we need to put him on Sales School. Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, and many other books. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
Here's Sales School. It's quick. It's to the point. What's the one tip or strategy that you could offer the viewers here and the listeners that would help them become more effective communicators and closers and persuaders? One thing, you explain it. I know there's so much you know, but one thing that could be the most helpful, and then we talk about that in more detail.
Well, it's about the ability to get inside the mind frame of the person you're dealing with. And you think that's easy and you think you're doing it, but you're not.
Give me an example.
Well, 90% of the time when you have an idea in your head of something that you want, a goal that you want to reach, you want to sell them this product or whatever it is, you think that your product is wonderful and you have a pitch that you think is designed to dazzle them in some way or whatever, but you're not thinking of where they are in this particular moment in time. You're not aware of the fact that people are inundated with information. They're inundated with pitches, not, on media, etc. They're not listening to you. They're not tuning in. You need to think of what's their self-interest at this moment. What is it that they are missing right now? You have to be able to shut up your own interior monologue, your own ideas of how wonderful you are, and you need to somehow penetrate the defenses of that other person and get inside of their mind frame at that moment. And it's not that difficult. You need to pay attention to their body language, to their tone of voice, to how they respond to certain questions, to what excites them, and to what. And just, people will seem excited by your idea, but you'll never hear from them again because you'd misread the signs. Their eyes aren't lighting up. They're not smiling in the right way. Their face reveals the fact that they are cold to what you were saying. So you're not aware, you're not awake, and you're not alive to the body language, to the mentality, to the individual that you're dealing with. It's to individualize your attention, right? Because the worst feeling in our world is like this person is giving me a pitch that they're giving to 100 other people. Right? So how can you make it seem like it's about you in that moment?
I always say people love to buy things they hate to feel sold to.
Right.
So I guess what you're saying here, which I agree with 100%, is that very often salespeople make a mistake of using their own map of the world. And they just assume what someone else is thinking, feeling, or what they want or need. And because that, they use that same almost that shotgun approach sales pitch versus taking the time to really find out where someone is, what they're really feeling, what they're thinking, what is happening in their life that led up to this moment that's created their frame, their map, so to speak. And then once you know that, essentially tailoring your presentation to meet that need in a way that they connect with and they feel like you care about them and you're not just there to make a sale. Is that about it?
Yeah, and do some research. So let's say you're in a position where you're trying to get a job and you're in a job interview, which is a sort of a sales, right? You don't realize how many people fail because they don't do basic research. If you simply spent a couple days looking up on the internet about this person who's interviewing you, about their history, about their problems.
100%.
It's so easy, and people never do it.
The buzzwords they use, what their mission is, what their vision, what things are important, right?
Yeah.
So, and by the way, it's interesting because now everything is pretty much available. You can find things online, and you don't have to walk into most meetings blind.
Right.
In terms of the way you go about doing the former meeting, finding out what someone's frame of mind is, That's obviously through asking questions, right? And also observing body language, right? Unconscious communication. Are there any particular questions that you found to be very effective in the concept? How would you say to someone imagine? So tell me what your frame of mind is. You don't just come out and say that. So how do you go about doing that in a setting that you believe? You're trying to find, what is someone really thinking? I have ways of doing it that I use in terms of the system I teach. We're really serious, So tell me if if you've used similar products before. What did you like most about the products you've used? If you could design a solution yourself, what would that solution look like? What things are most important?
Well,
those are the sort of things.
Those are very valuable, because what you want to do is you want to get the other person to participate.
Exactly. Yeah.
You don't want to be hitting them with everything. You want them to be thinking, oh, I'm going to be telling this guy what it is that he needs to be doing. This is the product that I want, right?
Exactly.
The more you hook them into talking about using their own willpower as opposed to being passive, and you get them to open up and say, this is really what I would do if I were in your place. You've got them right there, because you're getting them to be active. You're getting them to use their imagination. And at that moment, their defenses are down, because they have the impression that they're almost the one in control, that they're almost the one telling you what they want, what you're going to give them. So that's an extremely powerful technique right there.
Perfect. All right. Well, there you go. That's sales school. Quick. It's every single day. Salesmen just need a little shot in the arm. They keep them sharp. Robert, thanks so much. You're awesome.
Thank you, Jordan.
Everybody, Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, and many other books. Check what's the best way for them to find out more about you? A website or?
Yeah, I have my original website for my first 3 books. It's called Power, Seduction, and War.com. The and is spelled out. PowerSeductionAndWar.com. And there you'll find links to my first 3 books, to the book I did with 50 Cent called The 50th Law, to my book Mastery, and to The Laws of Human Nature.
Love it. Robert Greene, everyone, thanks for coming and attending today virtually and listening, and I will speak to you again tomorrow. Take care.